Alright, I'm going to go through all the parts of the Chapter 1 study guide, so if you missed something and you're not sure how to do it, this is where you need to be. Alright, so if you don't already have your toolkit out, you need to get your toolkit out, because you need the formula sheet to answer the following questions. The first part says, the blank is the distance around the outside of a shape. The blank is the measure of the space inside the shape. So this one's pretty self-explanatory, I hope, because right here is the words area and perimeter. So which one goes where? Pause the video and see if you can fill them in. Okay, so this is how you should have filled them in. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of the shape. The area is the measure of the space inside the shape. So let's take a look at the first shape. The first shape is kind of a little wonky. It's built of unit tiles. So the area is actually pretty simple. You're literally going to count the tiles. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the area is going to be 8 units squared. So because there's not a label like centimeters, feet, meters, we're going to use the word units. Okay, so I'm going to erase that. And then we're going to move to the outside edge. Okay, so on the outside edge, we're looking at the perimeter. So how many units around is it? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 units going around. So the answer is going to be 18 units. Okay, hopefully that was pretty easy and pretty straightforward. Let's look at example number 2. Now for example number 2, let's start with the perimeter. Okay, the perimeter is that outside edge. So 8 plus 3, oh wait, this side here doesn't have a measurement, but it's the same as the side that's parallel to the other 8 and 3. So when I add these, I have 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 3. So 8 plus 3 is 11, and then I'd have that same amount again. So plus 11 more gives me 22, and this one has a label, so it's centimeters. Okay, let's take a look at the area, sorry. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. So the area is 8 times 3. And that gives us 24, I'm not going to fit it in here, centimeters squared. Alright, so let's take a look at the area and the perimeter of the triangle. Let's just start with the area. If you looked up the formula on your formula sheet, you got area equals 1/2 base times height. So remember that the base and the height are always adjoined by that 90-degree symbol. So I'm going to have area equals 1/2 times 12 times 5. Half of 12 is 6, and 6 times 5 is 30. Labels inches squared. Let's take a look at the perimeter. Remember, the perimeter, again, is that outside edge of our shape. So 13 plus 12 plus 5. 13 plus 12 plus 5. 13 plus 12 is 25, plus 5 gives me 30 inches. Alright, so let's take a look at the trapezoid. Let's do the perimeter first because that's less tricky. I have the outside edge. 13 plus 12 plus 13.4 plus 23. So when I add those together, I get 61 and 4/10 or 61.4 centimeters. All right, so now let's take a look at the area. The area of a trapezoid is kind of tricky, but let's just follow the formula and it'll help us out. So, the formula for a trapezoid is 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Okay? So the height is the dotted line shown with the 90-degree symbol. So 1/2 of 12 times, the bases are the parallel sides. So you see those wonky arrows? That arrow and that arrow, that tells me those sides are parallel. That tells me those are the bases. So 12 plus 23. So we have to do order of operations. In parentheses first, 12 plus 23 is 35. So I have 1/2 of 12 times 35. 1/2 of 12 is 6, and 6 times 35 is 210 centimeters squared. All right, let's take a look at the parallelogram. The parallelogram, the area of a parallelogram, I'm going to switch colors so it doesn't blend with the one above it. Area of a parallelogram is simply base times height. So remember, the base and the height are joined by that 90-degree symbol. So the base is 7 and the height is 3. So 7 times 3 gives me 21 yards squared. Okay, so let's take a look at the perimeter. Remember, the perimeter is that outside edge. 4, well, let me switch colors here. 4 and 7. Now remember, this side's also 4 and this side's also 7. So 4 plus 7 is 11, and we have that double, so it's 22. And our label is yards.